Hi YouTube, Engineer Boy 100. Today's video is on the repair and paint of this damaged, cracked, and scuffed up bumper. The first step we will be doing will be actually repairing the mechanical structural damage, the cracks, the bends, and the scratches on the surface. We'll do a structural repair of the mount location here by straightening it out with a little bit of heat, and then we'll reinforce it with a machined plate here, and we'll rivet and bond that. The adhesion promoter that I'll be using is the 3680009 for plastic. How do I know it's the correct one for this plastic? There's a number on every bumper, some SAE, some other, but this one is polypropylene, and I'll show you a slide on the of what the material is. This will help the base coat bond to the bumper cover. This is the base coat that we're going to be using. We're using the Valspar brand. We'll also be using Valspar clear coat. Okay, and this is our hardener on top. We'll also be using the Valspar reducer. It's a 50-50 mix. Okay, and that's what we'll be mixing with our clear and our base coat. Now let me show you what we'll be using to apply these. For the base coat, we'll be using this the silver gun here, which is a 1.4 millimeter tip. It's ideal for base coat, and for the clear coat, we'll be using this 1.3 millimeter gun. It's ideal for clear coat. So now you have a basic overview. Let's go ahead and get started repairing this bumper cover. Okay, so first we're going to go ahead and heat these different plastic pieces up a little bit, and I'll control the temperature by checking periodically with my laser thermometer here. So we'll heat it up a little bit, check, heat up a little bit. Polypropylene is safe to about 200 degrees. Using a small heating gun has really been a big help because it doesn't get things too hot. And I know I said 200 degrees before, but polypropylene melts at 320 degrees Fahrenheit. And my experience has been that it molds into place best and easiest at about 170 degrees. So nowhere near melting, and no need to take it all the way up to 200 if 170 is working out really, really well. And you can see just what I mean by gentle massaging after a good heating. And as you can see, it's already starting to go back into shape the way I want it. And it's not overheated because I can touch it. I mean, as humans, we're like 98 degrees, so 200 or 170, you can still touch it, especially with gloves. And 2 or 3 more passes like this, once it's flat, we'll be able to map out how to support it on the back with this aluminum plate, and we'll machine out the openings, epoxy to the back. Of course, we'll have bond controllers in there, and we'll rivet it in place. Okay, so I got the damaged license plate mount location flat enough to clamp the aluminum plate onto that location, and now we can flip it over and trace out the hole patterns. Alright, so the structural aspects of the bumper are done, so now all we have to do is put on filler and sand. I'll let you look at the back side so you can see. So here's a plate that has been riveted and JB welded to the back for reinforcement. So it's very strong. So in addition to being pretty on the outside, it'll be structurally integral. Okay, so all of the structural damage to the bumper cover has been repaired.
Now we're going to have to sand out all the high spots and fill all the low spots. We've just finished cleaning it, and I'm going to start with 220 grit sandpaper, knock everything down, and then I'll clean it again and I'll start filling after I put a light coat of adhesion promoter over everything. Here's the 220. Time to get to work. Okay, it's sanded down all of the high spots, as you can see. We have little burn throughs on the plastic here. And next we're going to go and fill in any low spots and sand those smooth and check them by sight and by feel as well. Then we'll be ready to start really cleaning her up, wiping her down with alcohol, and getting ready to shoot the base coat. I don't think I'll need too much. There's not that many low spots. So here we go. And I learned from some other people's videos that the better job you do filling, in terms of not leaving too much excess behind, the less sanding you have to do once it's dry. So I'm really trying to do a good job leaving as little filler on the surface as possible. While waiting for the filler to dry, I use that time to go ahead and 800 grit scuff the entire surface of the clear, as we'll be clearing the entire surface. So now we're going to wipe the whole thing down with a clean damp cloth. Then we'll wipe it down again with alcohol. Then we'll go over it again with cheesecloth to make sure the surface is perfectly clean. Now a thorough wipe down with the alcohol. Getting the floor wet. Make sure we keep the dust down. Okay, let's get our 50-50 mix. Our base coat, 2 ounces each. Two ounces of base coat. Okay, here we go with our first coat of base coat. Well, so far, first coat looks excellent. I can't take the camera out to show you. You see, first coat coming out really nice. Sorry I got the mask on. Everything's not completely covered, but we got a couple more coats to go, and then our clear, and our 1000 grit in between there, so I think it's going to be awesome.
Okay, so all the base coat's done. And we're going to go ahead and wipe everything down with a tacky cheesecloth here. And we're going to blow any residual little particles off so they go down into the water and not come back up. So we'll do that now. Here we go, ignite. None about that, huh? Fleck. Go away. Now we're going to go and mix our clear, which is 4-to-1, and that's what you'll see me shooting next. Okay, so now we're going to mix up the Valspar clear coat and the hardener or activator, or what people call it. But this one really isn't a hardener per se because it doesn't get completely hard. It stays pliable because it's made to go on plastic.
Clear coat. All right, she's all done. So here is the final result. There's a little bit of a indentation where the license plate hit initially, but I'm happy with the result. We put 5 coats of base on here, and we put 4 coats of clear, gradually increasing how heavy the clear was as we went along. And this is what it looks like. And I couldn't be happier. This is what it looks like. All done. And we'll see what it looks like on the car and how it matches. I did some little things to make it match because we did go over the original, but I wanted it a tiny bit darker to try and match the car a little bit better than the original did. So we'll see how that works out once it's mounted.